Hi friends, welcome back to the Saffron Box. I'm Yamini, as you all know, and today I shall be talking about the month of November 2019. How would it be? What are going to be the planetary transits, and what is going to be the effect of everything, all the planetary transits, the planetary movements on the 12 ascendants, on the 12 lagnas. So stay tuned on to this video, and before I go ahead, let me just remind you to subscribe if you haven't done so already. So below the screen you see the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button so that you get regular updates and you keep following contents on my channel. So you can go through the other playlists also which I have made. Recently I made a video on the Jupiter transit, which is going to happen on the 5th of November. So the effect, the impact on all the 12 signs is what I've talked about there. So it's available in English as well as Hindi. Take your pick and go through the video, and do leave me a feedback of whatever your experience is, whatever your observation is as well. Right, so if we look at the planetary transits for this month, that is the month of November 2019, we have Jupiter moving into the sign of Sagittarius, its own sign, on the 5th of November. Right, so that's a major transit which is happening this month. Then we have Sun moving into the sign of Scorpio. So Sun, as you all know, is currently in the sign of Libra, which is its sign of debilitation. It's Neech Rashi, and Sun on the 16th of November shall move on to the sign of Scorpio, a Mars own sign. Then we have Mars moving on to the sign of Libra on the 10th of November. Again, very kind of tricky movement for Mars. Then we have Mercury. Mercury shall become retrograde on the 7th of November in the sign of Libra. So Mercury shall move on to Scorpio, then come back into the sign of Libra, stay retrograde over there. And then we have Venus. Venus will move on to the sign of Sagittarius on the 21st of November, and there we'll have, in the sign of Sagittarius, we'll have Jupiter and Venus conjunct together, forming a Shankh yoga. Now this, though it's a very beneficial combination which will be there when Jupiter and Venus come together, but we must not forget that we also have Saturn as well as Ketu in the sign of Sagittarius, and Rahu is there right opposite in the sign of Gemini. So at a certain point in time in the sign of Sagittarius, we'll have 4 planets, and this is a build up to all the planetary crowd which is going to come up in the month of December. So we'll have, after the 21st of November, we'll have 4 planets: Jupiter, Venus, Saturn and Ketu in the sign of Sagittarius. The other sign which is to be watched out for is the sign of Libra, because over there till the 16th, till Sun moves out, we have Sun, then we have Mars over there, and then we also have Mercury. Right, so Sun, Mars and Mercury, so a lot of energy of fire, a lot of fire energy coming together in the sign of Libra there. Sagittarius, the other sign which I talked about, is anyways quite activated and will get furthermore activated with the presence of 4 planets there. So when we talk about the transit of Jupiter, I have already made a video on that. As I said, you can see the individual impact, the standalone impact of the of the planet Jupiter in the sign of Sagittarius. Of course, your horoscope has to be kept in the backdrop. You need to see what your natal chart is, you need to see the natal promises, and only then further the transits can be studied and applied, and any expectations can be had from any kind of a planetary transit. But talking about this month, when we look at Mars in the sign of Libra, Mars is the army commander. Mars is the commander-in-chief of the planetary cabinet. It's the Senapati. And in the sign of Libra, Mars has to kind of learn how to balance out its energies there. So Mars, while it's aggressive and a lot of fiery temperament it has, in the sign of Libra, it's a little uncomfortable because it has to learn how to balance out things. So one thing, which is one thing which we need to take care of. On the other hand, we also have Mercury becoming retrograde in the sign of Libra. So this talks about everything which Mercury represents. So your communication, your speech, all these things, you know, you need to get a little more balanced. You need to get a little more thoughtful, little more mindful as to how your communication is coming across, especially with the person right in front. So that you know, it could be your spouse, it could be your business partner. So people related to the 7th house, right? So Mars and Mercury both over here, you know, it's a major impact, and especially when Mars and Mercury both are not friendly towards each other. Then we have Sun. Now Sun is a common friend. We have Sun, but Sun also is in its sign of debilitation in the Libra, in the sign of Libra. So what happens? A lot of fire energy, but you know, a lot of fairiness. But how does this fire energy fire up is what you have to check out, what you have to be careful about in the sign of Libra. So you check out wherever your sign of Libra is there in your chart, and be very, very careful regarding all these soft issues related to that house. So say Libra is you know, your 7th sign, 7th house in your horoscope. You have an Aries ascendant in that case. So you need to be very careful with your spouse in the whole month while this transit is there. So you need to be careful about how you're communicating with your spouse. Your communication cannot be harsh, it cannot be mean. You cannot show any kind of a, you know, aggression towards your partner, which will again take this whole energy, this entire Sun, Mars, Mercury combination towards the negative side. So while we make all these predictions, these forecasts, it's important that we learn as to what all should we do and what are the precautions which we need to follow. You know, that is the whole purpose while why you know, prediction is prepared, right? So going on to all the 12 signs, what you can do is check out your ascendant. My predictions are always based on the ascendant, on the lagna, that is the first sign in your horoscope, and accordingly, you know, see your see what the month holds for you. So the timestamps are anyways given below. Starting with Aries. Sorry, if we look at the sign of Aries, we have the 7th house full of action. Right, then we also have the 9th house getting activated, getting superbly activated, right? So when we talk about when we talk about Aries, one needs to be very, very careful about communication, your conduct, your behavior towards your partner. Now when I'm saying partner, it's not only your marriage partner or life partner, it's your business partner. It's about anybody whom you regularly interact with, right? So you have to be very, very you know, careful about your communication. Do not be aggressive, do not show any kind of a you know, violent behavior also. So you might get you know, very, very aggressive about certain things, and if you by nature, if you're an aggressive person, you know, try to keep the violence out of anything. So do not be violent with your words, do not be violent with your actions, right? So that is something which I would say at the beginning you need to be very, very careful about. On the other hand, we also have Mercury here retrograde. So one, you know, there could be travel plans which you had maybe dropped earlier, which you had maybe, you know, kind of shelved earlier, but those travel plans come out and you try to make a travel plan to some far away place. So these kind of things, travel probabilities come up. You could also think over contracts which you are in the process of signing. So there could be deals which you are in the process of you know, finalizing, solidifying, but you know, you get to rethink. So this is a superb opportunity for you to rethink before signing on the dotted line anywhere. So it's a legal contract, it's a social contract. Even if it's a marriage, you know, you're looking forward to your marriage, getting married, you can actually use this entire month to rethink as to what you're doing and is it okay, about, whatever you're doing, is it fine, is it okay, are you going in the right direction? And for this you also need to keep your ego a little down. So do not let your false ego, or do not let any kind of a false sense of self overrule practicalities over here. On the other hand, while whatever difficulties you might face this entire month, it could be in terms of health. So you could have digestive issues. There could also be problems, or some kind of issue related to the kidneys or the reproductive organs. So one needs to be careful about that. While whatever problems or rethinking you continue doing, God's grace is with you. The lucky thing is that Jupiter is coming into your 9th house. So Jupiter takes care of a lot of issues, of a lot of other things which you had been ignoring. So your physical health is something which gets affected. That's the first thing which gets affected. If you had been undergoing any kind of a physical issue, a disease, some medical issues, Jupiter kind of brings in some relief, right? So rethink your travel plans, rethink your contracts, and whatever you do, be very, very conscious about whatever you're doing, right? Then moving on to the sign of Taurus. For Taurus, if you see, this month could bring in a lot of possibilities of you doing any investments, of you gaining any money. So this month the focus could be on money. So it could be your own money, it could be wealth coming in from your partner's side. So it could be partner as in your spouse's side, or it could also be gain from a partnership business. And those of you who are into any kind of insurance or research or mining, these kind of professions, or you are in the banking sector, you could see that things are going well for you. And all the things which were kind of pending, which you were expecting to fructify, are now going to fructify. You could see the results this month, right? On the other hand, there could also be your physical health could be an issue this entire month. So you need to be careful with regards to your health. You need to be careful with regards to your daily routine. So if you do not have a set healthy routine, it's time to do so. You can redo your food habits, your eating habits, your daily routine, time you sleep, the time you get up, what kind of an exercise you do. So this entire month is the focus is on your health and money. So a lot of things can be redone. So take this time, take this opportunity to work on all these things. At the workplace, now for you could see certain opposition. You could see certain things not going your way. So this month you need to be a little careful about how you react to certain situations at work. Do not react fast, do not react in haste, and kind of wait out for some time. I would suggest that even if you feel uncomfortable, try to let go, try to ignore certain things, do not react on small matters. And of course, if there's any major issue which you're going to deal with it with a cool head. Try to garner support from everybody, and then kind of take up any matter if you're facing any challenge at work. So do not try to make any knee-jerk reaction towards any kind of adverse situation, because this month you could be dealing with a lot of opponents. You could be dealing with a lot of people who would try to be who would try to impact your life, impact your work adversely. So be very careful here, and keep a cool head is what I would say. Now moving on to the sign of Gemini. If you look at Gemini, good times. Those of you who are looking at getting married, your probability increases. You might meet a life partner. If you are a male, your would-be spouse, your wife could come into picture. So I mean, that is a big possibility. So if you are a Gemini ascendant male, a lady coming into, a nice pretty lady coming into your life, and your marriage probability is going up. is really there, is really high on the charts. And otherwise, your relationships get some improvement here. You see some improvement in your relationship. If you're married, you get to see that now you're able to reconnect with your partner. You're able to redo certain things. You're able to bring some, some spark back into your relationship, because of late, with the Saturn Ketu conjunction, what was happening was that there was certain amount of dryness or feeling cut off or a lack of warmth, with your partner, with your spouse. So this is a time for all of it to get rekindled and get on track. So utilize this time, bring in some, spend time with your partner and do things which make both of you happy together. So this is a lovely time for relationships after a very long spell of months, that now you can work on your relationships, right? Also on the work front, this is a time when you could see that yes, if you're in the partnership business, or if you're doing some business of your own, if you have some travel plans, things could move towards a positive direction, right? So try to get the max out of all this. And also, if you are in some profession, if you're working in some organization, this is the time when your work could start getting recognized. So all these months where you could have been facing some kind of a issue at work or not getting your due, this is the time when things could actually start moving into your favor. So capitalize on this time. Try to reconnect with people around you. Try to focus on networking, on your social circle, and a lovely time to bring up a lot of people issues, solve a lot of people issues now for you. Also, but on the other hand, you should be very careful about how you're dealing with your children, right? So getting aggressive with children, getting violent with children will not work. So try to manage how your, what is your relationship with your children. So especially when you have grown up children, teenage children, you need to be very careful about how you're going to deal with them. And keep your communication open. That is very important. This month you could also, if you have any kind of a creative profession which requires a lot of creativity, if you are an artist, I think this is the time when you'll be able to rethink on, projects, on stuff which you're going to do. You'll be able to reconnect, or maybe take out some old skills which you might bring into work. So very important month, and a very good month to kind of tie up the loose ends and move on. Now moving on to the sign of Cancer. For Cancer, I would say that this month could bring in a lot of activity at home, right? So it could be in terms of renovating your house. It could be in terms of buying a new house maybe, or these kind of concrete tangible results is what you could see this month. But also whatever happens, you could also feel a certain amount of dissatisfaction, or kind of you could feel detached this month with your family members, with your home, with your mother. So this is a time to kind of deal with old issues at hand. If you have any family dispute, it's time to deal with it. It's time to kind of get it sorted out, even if you need to take a legal route, and sort out things at home. Do not let your ego or your overconfidence in any matter bog you down. So keep a cool head and deal with things. They could also be say if you have a joint family, or if you have a joint family business, there could also be a chance where some kind of a dispute happens, or there's some kind of a disagreement or a conflict between your family members. So it's time to be very careful about any such thing, and in case any such thing comes up, you need to be very level headed about how you deal with it. So try not to make any mistakes with relationships out here. Also when it comes to your relationships with your spouse or your love life, this month I would say could bring in some amount of some amount of relief overall. So things should get better now moving forward. So try to be patient and let things be. The way things are shaping up, let them be. Do not lose your cool. Do not be very very overprotective about your partner. Do not be very over possessive about people around you as well, right? So let things be, because whatever happens ultimately is God's will, and whatever happens for good. Work wise also, your attitude should be on the softer side. Do not get into any arguments, any conflicts. Try to keep a low profile and carry on with work. Overall work wise seems to be good, but on the softer side of work, on the relationships at work, relationships with your superiors or your subordinates, that is something which you need to be very very careful about in dealing, right? Then moving on to the sign of Leo. If you look at the sign of Leo, your ascendant lord Sun is debilitated in the third house, right? And that is for the first half of the month. So this could actually kind of show that there might be some health issues, or there might be some issues which you face. You put in some hard work and you're not able to get the result, you're not able to get the output out of it. So hold your horses, things should go on. Try to keep a level head. Try to don't let low levels of energy bog you down, because by the second half of the month you could feel that yes, now you're able to kind of get into some action, because Sun in Libra is kind of confused about what it has to do. But once it gets into the sign of Scorpio with the Martian energy, with all the fire, with all the Martian energy around it, Sun is able to pick up and take initiative towards doing new things, right? So you could actually wait out for some time, if in case you are waiting for any new initiative. It could be a new travel plan, it could be anything new. I would suggest that you wait out for the first half month, and then the second half of the month you carry on with your new initiatives or your new projects. Overall, if you see, there could also be chances of conflict or chances of misunderstandings or miscommunication with your sibling, with your neighbors, right? So that is something which you need to be careful about. There could also be some relief though coming in from the side of your children. So till now, if you are in that stage, if your children are in that stage in age where you are kind of trying to settle them down, whether it's in terms of marriage or in terms of studies or something, this month you could start feeling some relief. You could kind of hear some good news, some good stuff coming in from your children. So try to relax out there. Try to work on a relationship with your children. Your love interest, there could be some amount of there could be someone new, in terms of your love interest who comes in the picture, and you're able to you might find yourself attracted to someone new totally, right? So that is something which is positive for those of you who are interested there, right? So and if in case you are in the field of creative arts, you're an artist, and you're looking for some new work to do, new projects coming up, the second half of the month is what you should wait for. Things should start building up and you should be able to see more results, right? So this is also a great time for you to actually connect up with your spouse. So any kind of work, whatever work you have to do towards your marriage, this is a great time for you to start working towards your marriage. Start trying to understand what your partner needs, and planets are also supporting you. So by the second or the third week of this month, you shall find yourself really feeling comfortable out there with your partner as well. On the work front, if you see, again, time to be a little cautious, time to be a little patient. Do not lose your cool, and there could be certain things which get stalled, but that will happen again for the first half of the month. The second half could sort out stuck work. So wait it out and see how things go, and then accordingly take action. right? Moving on now to the sign of Virgo. So for Virgo, this is an interesting month, because the Lord of Virgo, Mercury, is getting retrograde. And where is it getting retrograde? In the second house. So your second house matters, your money matters, your family matters, take up a lot of your time and attention, right? So they could be money matters within the family business. There could be issues related to your savings, your assets, which you might be thinking about, which you might be thinking of dealing with, or redoing, or realigning, restructuring your investments, your savings. But I would suggest that whatever you may do, this month is not a great time to take any action as such. So whatever planning you may do, just go ahead with any kind of a professional advice. Do not take any random decisions. Do not take any decisions based on what someone else is saying, person X, person Y. Take a professional advice when it comes to your savings, when it comes to your finances, and only then go ahead, because this entire month you will be focused there. You will be focused on money. You will be looking at ways of improving your savings, working on your assets. So this all this month, there are very high chances of you getting misled, getting inputs from various places and taking a wrong decision. So there's the need of professional advice, right? So otherwise things could take a positive turn towards a positive turn at home. So you could be spending more time at home, you could feel more connected with your family, you could feel more at ease at home, and a lot of things, whatever you do, whatever you want to do, whatever gives you a lot of happiness and peace, you will find time to do that, right? So the money bit, the finances bit, is something which I said has to be very, one has to be very cautious about. But otherwise the rest of the soft issues of life is something which you get to enjoy this entire month. So do that, and do that at your own time, peacefully. So spending time with your spouse, spending time with your family, this is a great month for it. Also professionally, you could see that yes, opportunities are coming up for you. You could see that new opportunities, new chances are coming up. Those of you who are looking at a new position, or a new job, or change in profession, change in job, also could benefit during this month, right? Now moving on to the sign of Libra. For Libra, this is a challenging time period. Why? Because as I said in the beginning, Sun in the sign of debilitation in Libra, then Mars coming into Libra, and then Mercury going retrograde. So a lot of action there. A lot of things could demand your time and attention, and you could actually find it very challenging to deal with all these things at the same time. So they could be professional matters, they could be personal matters, they could be relationship issues. So this entire time, try to keep your balance. Try your try to use your analytical skills more. Try not to get carried away with any situation, with any person as such, and use your analytical ability or your art of balancing everything to the maximum this entire month. So try to keep your ego away from things. Also, there could be people in your social circle, people in your network, somewhere in that network you could find someone who's trying to help you. Either the person helps you or that person gets exposed. So there could be some trying time where you get to know who your real friend is. So this is the time to actually be very careful there. Be very careful in your network circle as well. So that is something which you need to watch out for. Otherwise you get full support from your spouse this entire month. If you are in a partnership business, your partner supports you. There is profit from business, there is support from whatever business you are doing. There could also be a chance of traveling somewhere with regards to your business, or with your partner somewhere. So good times that way. Your initiatives, your hard work will be on the rise. So this month you have to be ready for hard work. You could take up something new, you could take up some new project, you could take up some new initiative which interests you, which you like ultimately, right? So you'll be spending time over there. There could also be short term journeys, short travels which keep happening. So it may not be necessarily some other city, but within the city, or within offices, there could be a lot of travel to and fro, and you spend a lot of time there on the road. So it's there on the cards. And but while all these efforts and endeavors which you are going to make are happening, and a lot of sweat and blood goes into all this, there is a saving grace, there is divinity saving you from whatever is happening. So a lot of things will get taken care of. So a lot of things, you need to stop worrying about and leave things to the divine power above. So that is something which I would really advise the Librans as such. So now moving on to the sign of Scorpio. For Scorpio, this month your second house and your 12th house, you are hemmed between two houses which are populated and which are crowded, right? So especially with the ascendant lord Mars being in the 12th, so you see yourself spending time, spending energy, spending money a lot this entire month. So this could be family related matters, this could be your own health, so there could be a lot of expenditure here. So while there is income, while Jupiter goes to the second house and kind of aids you in your income, in your savings, in your money, but on the other hand, with this combination in the 12th, there could also be a lot of expenditure. So be careful about where your expenditure is going. And when I'm talking about expenditure, it is not only money, it is about how you are spending your time, whom you are spending time with as well. So, and in case you are due for any medical checkup, in case you are facing any health issue, I suggest that you take immediate medical attention and get yourself checked, right? So there could be a good amount of expenditure on health issues as well. So it could be you, or then if not you, then it could be any family member on whose health you get to spend on. So this is a time to be careful about all this. Also this is a great time to if you have any business, or if you have any work which is related to foreign lands, which is related to travel, I suggest you do all this entire month. Spend your energy there, spend your energy in traveling, spend your energy in establishing foreign connections, outside connections. If you are dealing with any kind of export or import stuff, you have business of this sort, or your work involves exporting or importing or something like that, this is a month to get involved, grow your connections outside. Also work wise, while everything kind of goes good, a little care is required towards your boss. So your boss might feel a little funny, your boss might feel a little egoistic this entire month. So avoid getting into any kind of ego clashes or any kind of verbal conflicts with your boss, with your superiors at work. Otherwise things seem to be good. You could also, while I was talking about travel plans, you could also take up some kind of a travel plan, or make travel plans with your spouse. So with your spouse or family, there's expenditure there indicated over there as well, right? So expenditure is something which is the key this entire month for Scorpio. Then talking about the sign of Sagittarius. For Sagittarius, this is a great month. Jupiter coming back into its own Mool Trikon sign of Sagittarius, and then Venus shall also join in by the end of the month, by the 21st of November. This month brings in a lot of relief from physical issues, relationship issues, and overall, especially for those of you who are undergoing Sarasati as well. So if you have a Sagittarius moon as well, this month gives you a lot of relief. With the ongoing conjunction of Saturn and Ketu together in the ascendant, now with Jupiter and Venus coming in, right? So your relationships get better. You are able to work towards your relationships. You're able to spend time with your partner, with your spouse. And those of you who are looking at getting married or looking at a relationship, this could be a very positive time frame for you. But a word of caution: if you're looking at getting married, if you're looking at finally taking the final step of a relationship, getting into a marriage, it's time to introspect a little. It's time to really think over a little, and then take the next move, right? And overall you get the support of your spouse. Overall you feel in charge of your life now. A lot of things start moving towards your favor slowly and gradually, and this shall further improve over the next few months. So any kind of a gain which was denied to you earlier, this is the time when gains shall come to you. This is the time when people shall start benefiting you. You start getting some recognition for the work which you've been doing. Overall, good time. And at home also you feel kind of settled. You feel at peace with yourself at home as well as in your mind. So this is a time, make use of this month, make use of the Venus transit also, along with Jupiter, and try to focus on yourself. Try to focus on whatever is doing good to you, whether it's physically or mentally or emotionally. So take care of yourself, and you deserve to do that. Then moving on to the sign of Capricorn. For Capricorn, this month brings in a lot of action at work, brings in a lot of action in your profession. So while all this action is happening, while you're ready to grab up all the opportunities which are coming up, I suggest you keep your temper in check. You keep your communication in check. So while you're climbing high, do not forget to deal with everyone else around you properly. So that is very, very important this entire month. Also, now with Jupiter and Venus together in the 12th house, there could also be chances of some kind of an expenditure happening. So your expenditures go up, but it could be some amount of decent expenditure. So you spend money on things which you want to buy. You spend money on items of luxury. You spend money also towards donation, towards education. So good expenditure. It's not wasteful expenditure which I am talking about. Some amount of good expenditure and constructive expenditure happens this month, by the end of the month especially. So that is something which is there, which I see happening. Also, when it comes to relationships, this month is kind of okay, average. Depends on how the other, how your natal chart is also, but in terms of relationships, I would say this is an okay month. You need to be a little careful about keeping your communication open with your partner. That's very, very important. So however you deal with your partner, do not try to be all closed up because of your work, because of being busy. Try to keep your communication open with your partner, because he or she could feel a little neglected this entire month. So do that. And also at home, your home environment needs to be seen. So keep your partner happy, keep your home environment okay. If you need to put in some physical effort at home, try to take out time to do so. So one needs to be careful about the expenditure. One needs to be careful about your relationships at home with your spouse. So that is something which I would say is your area of focus while work is going all well. Now moving on to the sign of Aquarius. For Aquarius, I would say this is a month of gains. So a lot of gains come your way. A lot of profit from networking around comes in. So if you're doing any kind of a business, any kind of a venture which you have of your own, keep your eyes out, keep your ears open, your eyes open for opportunities this entire month. So a lot of good stuff to see, and a lot of opportunities to encash on. But one thing which you need to see is again your relationship, your conduct with your spouse. So try to be a little considerate towards your spouse, towards your partner. Also, this month, if you get any opportunity to spend time with your partner, you get any opportunity to travel with your partner, do so. Do that, take up that opportunity, try to travel, try to go somewhere, make a short trip with your partner somewhere, right? And now when we talk about Mercury being retrograde, especially in the case of Aquarius, um, you know lot of thoughts, a lot of opinions could affect you. So this month you could actually feel that whatever you were thinking, whatever your ideas are about life, about your higher philosophy, about higher wisdom, this month you get to redo and rethink about a lot of things. So this month you spend time pondering over what you need to do, what is your idea about certain things, broad ideas. So time for a lot of introspection, also thinking about stuff. This is also a time where you get to connect with your father this month. So if your relationship with your father is a little strenuous, is not very pleasant, you need to work on it. I suggest that this is a time when this is a month when you spend time with your father and try to understand, try to iron out any kind of differences. So great time, any kind of higher education opportunities which you might be looking at, I suggest that you seriously look out for any opportunities this month, because a lot of action could happen during this entire time period. Now moving on to the last sign of Pisces. For Pisces, this month brings in a lot of things, happy things, good things at work. How? Because with Jupiter coming into your 10th house, with Venus going in there, you could get in a lot of opportunities at work. You could see that your efforts are getting recognized. You feel some sigh of relief. So happy times ahead. Try to encash the opportunities which come your way. You get to shine at work. People are able to recognize and see what you have done all this time, right? So work wise, this is a good month. But on the other hand, if we look at money wise, you need to be a little careful. So in terms of your investments, in terms of your any money or any kind of asset which you've inherited, any inherited property could bring in some challenge. So be very careful about how you're dealing with money matters. Be very careful about how you're dealing with any kind of inheritance. Make any kind of inherited money which you've got, inherited wealth which you've got, you need to make sound decisions regarding that money. So these things could take away your time. Also there could be some confusion, there could be some arguments related to money with your spouse, with your partner, with your business partner as well. So you need to be tackling that as well. So money could bring in a lot of discussion, it could bring in a lot of talk, a lot of arguments this entire month. So be ready to deal with money matters. Be ready to take any advice as well this month. So whatever you may do, take sound advice and move ahead with regards to wealth, with regards to money, and also with your partner. So do not be too aggressive, or do not be very very strong headed when it comes to dealing with your partner. You need to slow down a little and give some time to each other this entire month, right? So that is all about all the 12 ascendants, the 12 lagnas, and I shall be coming back very soon with another video, and I shall be completing the Rahu in sign series with video on Rahu in Pisces, I think the next video, right? So see you all then very soon, and enjoy the good times, enjoy the happy times which this month of November is bringing for all of us majorly. Thank you so much. Bye bye.